Alright, so today we're going to look at cleaning out a spray gun. Keep it like that. So first thing is we're going to clean off the primer shaft, give that a good clean. And the next thing we've got to remove the two stockings, but be careful when we do it, we don't tear them on the bottom inlet valves. We take them off and give them a real good rinse up. And then they'll go straight back onto the machine once they're clean. Just doing these little steps at the start means you only need to go through the 3 buckets of water, not 10. You end up with a really clean machine. Alright, and then you've also got to clean the shaft as well. Then you do one soft knot and one bloody tight knot. Cool. So now we're ready to prime the paint out of the machine. So turn the revs down. I've just throwing the tip into a bucket of water. Fire the machine up, put the revs up. Then we flip it down to prime and prime all the paint out. And after that, we've got to flip it up to spray and spray all the paint out of the line. Now you can tell once the paint's come through because it tends to spit and spatter and then it floats along the top of the paint. And always once the line's through, I just flush it a bit more in the water and, shake the head of it in there, and I'll give it a little flush out with the prime as well, not heaps. Alright, so that's the paint out of the machine. Now our next steps, we just shake the paint because water left on top of paint turns paint mouldy and it goes off like in a year instead of 5. So now we're taking out the the big filter there. And we're also cleaning around the edge, and we'll clean inside that just to get the thick paint out. Just keep wetting your finger and wiping it out. Then we've got to clean off the big spray filter and also the shaft that it goes on. Cool. And before that goes on, it's important to Vaseline the thread. Now, this doesn't need to be done every single time, but if you can see the water completely beating off, it doesn't need it. But if it's not beating off, definitely do it, because if you don't do it, the machine, it seizes to the top and it's an absolute nightmare to get off. So any thread on a spray gun should be Vasoed. Now we're taking the filter out of the gun. Give that a clean as well. Now you'll notice when I hold this filter up, this filter's completely clogged. That's due for the bin. So that needs a new one. You don't need a new one every job, just when it's fully clogged. Alright, so also Vaso that thread, because that can seize as well. If it's left, there for 6 months not used, or 3 months or whatever. Pretty much when I got this machine, both were seized. Alright, now we're going to repeat the process, right? We give the shaft a bit of a clean. We don't need to take the filters off, the strainers off this time. We're just giving the shaft a bit of a clean so that once we flush the line and put it in the next slot, that no sediment runs off it. So we're priming it out. And then we're going to spray it out. Well, it's always important when you tilt the machine backwards not to catch the top of the bucket, because it can rip the little inlet filter off. You'll notice I let the machine sit back a bit before I move it off. That's just to let all the crap drain out so it doesn't go on the drop sheet. You end up with a wet patch on the drop sheet, and paint can seep through onto the concrete. So once again, we're just going to prime it out and then spray all the line out as well. Once the line's fully sprayed out, then we let the machine charge up with the pressure on this go, because we'll shoot out the tips that we've been spraying with. See, that water's fairly clean already, but always do that third bucket. If you follow all them steps, it'll be absolutely spotless. And when you're spraying your tip out, you spray one way, turn it the other, spray one way, turn it the other, shooting out each time. That gets your tip nice and clean. Alright, so all the pressure's let out of the gun. It's flipped back up to spray, because if you don't flip it back up to spray, the machine can still breathe, and if it's not cleaned properly, it'll ruin the machine. Top the petties up, close the lid, and then before the machine gets transported, now's a good time, turn the petrol off to the machine. Coolio.